Today, I asked 4 PTFS YouTubers on what they would add to the game. I mean, we're all influencers, we got our own opinion. After talking with them, I'll be then breaking down the suggestion, the pros and cons, and giving it a score of 1 to 10. I'm MrBullsFan, and let's get started with one Patronimo. What is one thing you would add to PTFS? Can be a plane, airport feature, whatever, just anything.
I'll be honest, this is something I've kind of thought about, I've been doing a lot of PTFS stuff as of recent. The one thing I really would absolutely love, a dynamic map. I think maybe every 2 weeks or so, the map could change in a small way to tell a story. For example, maybe some construction work on the edge of the city. You could see some construction work going off on the side of the island. Eventually that could end up being a new airport. Easter egg characters could move around. I've seen that Derek is, under a new bridge. He's, I don't know, got a hot dog stand. Just think, if a couple of players, a couple of hundred, maybe even 1,000, or every single update are spending, say, an hour and a half, 2 hours, just looking around the map for all these little secrets. Imagine if everyone's looking around like, oh, what's the lore? What's happening? What's he doing now? Having the map change every little while, or just every update, I think could really tell an interesting story and be a really interesting way of doing things.
Look, he hit all the nails here. Any single change to the map, whether it's additions of sports stadiums or a new badge every update, really elevates the scenery design and of course has this incentive for people to keep playing. Man, we're up to a good start because it's a 10 out of 10. Then we got ourselves Chocolate Plays with this amazing suggestion. What is one thing you would add to PTFS? Plane, airport, anything?
I would probably add the ability to scroll using the map down the bottom right, making it much easier to plan flights mid-air. This is something I do a lot due to fog, so you can't see the runway sometimes. If you can't scroll, it sometimes causes me to abandon my landing attempts multiple times.
When you're landing, you have an idea with the direction and navigation, but when you're obviously, factoring wind, you're factoring fog, and all that stuff, you have either a very tendency to be a little bit off, and having that type of, extra on the minimap could really help. Which is why I'm gonna go ahead and give the suggestion a 9 out of 10. Very simple but effective small detail that goes a mile. Next up is the main contributor of PTFS' largest basic community, the PTFS Wiki, that one unoriginal. And yes, there's a YouTube channel, don't look at me. What is one thing would you add to PTFS?
There's a lot of things I've wanted to add, but if there's one thing, I would probably say the DHL Event Canada DHC-7. It's a 4-prop turbo-craft, and it was actually used to develop the DHC-8, which is currently in the game.
Yeah.
S-Tall characteristic. It's a short takeoff aircraft due to the 4 engines.
I was about to get into that.
It's also because it's Canadian. I think that PTFS has too many American and British things in the game. Canada is still part of that Western group of nations. I think any expansion that isn't an American aircraft or a British aircraft would be that's something that a community would really appreciate.
And while yes, more Canadian planes would be awesome to see, I just not sure if this is the one. I always preach uniqueness in all my suggestion videos, and does this look similar to this? Kinda, yeah. Any new aircraft edition must be somewhat different than what's already in the aircraft catalog, which is why I have to give this suggestion a 5 out of 10. If added though, like usual, I'll probably welcome it, but I want something a bit more unique. And our final suggestion comes from none other than the PTFS coder himself, Semisage TFE. So as the coder powertrain flight simulator, of course you can't be leaking stuff for obvious reasons, though. I'll take a little inside scoop, please. That would be great. But I'm gonna go ahead and ask you this question that's a bit different from what I'm asking the other people. What is one thing that you would add to Powertrain Flight Simulator, but you know that it won't be added for obvious reasons, whether Orange says, he wouldn't like to have it in the game, or it just isn't feasible? So, anything.
There have been certain things which have been highly requested for many years. So one of the, for example, animated gear, that's probably one of the absolute biggest, people think, well, some games have it, why doesn't PTFS have it? It's just a question of time. Basically, the aircraft, they're all built in Roblox Studio. So Orange builds them all himself. And when he built them, he built them to be fixed gear models, either the gear's there or it disappears. And he basically just showed me, like, well, let's go to the A320, for example. If I was to pivot the gear, around here, it literally doesn't fit. It wouldn't actually work unless the fuselage was actually remodeled. So yeah, it's basically just a question of we'd have to remodel pretty much all the aircraft, and all of that just for a few seconds after takeoff and before landing. Obviously it's a big thing. I do appreciate that, but we have many more things that we can do which have a better sort of ratio of outputs to time put in.
With all of that in mind, with the discussion I had with Sam, I mean, yeah, gear animations isn't happening, and that's coming from one of the devs of the game. Like, it's the most accurate reporting I could give, so I'm giving it a 2 out of 10. Oh, there we have it, folks. Thanks to Pat, Chocolate, T1U, and Sam for taking time out of the day to be in this video, and for you, the viewers, for watching. But I'm MrBullsFan, and as always, take flight. See ya!